Welcome back to another episode, guys. This episode definitely has a content warning with suicidal ideation, attempts, etc. It's also a very special episode because we are 1 year and 1 day from my friend JT's attempt, which he obviously survived because he's here. He is here to talk about what led up to it and what has been going on the last 366 days since. JT?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah.
should-
Yeah. 1 year, 1 day. Yeah.
Yeah, as of this recording, I saw it yesterday and I was like, oh, the timing could not be more perfect.
Right. And then I'm going to therapy and I'm like, hey, are we recording today? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah. So we're good. Memory is good.
We're 1 year post attempt and I'm going to therapy, so I fully expect you to nap after this.
I'm probably going to make a plate of nachos and then piss. Like I know,
There you go. So I should also mention that you're the founder of Country Heavy, which is a clothing line, which we will dive into where that came from, what's going on with that, because I know you have some events coming up, but right into the deep, dark, scary parts. What led up to your attempt last year?
Honestly, I had this feeling of I was good. I was ready. I had done pretty much everything that I wanted to do up to that point. And this is going to come off incredibly selfish. I know how it's going to sound, but I just felt like I was good. And I was ready. I had, like I said, I accomplished everything I wanted to do. And I don't know, I was coming home. I remember I was coming home from Montage. Was it Destroy Create? Yeah, Destroy Create was playing. And I remember I came back. I went to First, I went to McDonald's because I wanted to get food, but they were closed. So I wanted a Burger King, and then I went and I sat by the river. I remember thinking to myself, okay, okay, I'm good. Time to go. Time to leave. I just saw no point, no future, no reason for me to still be around. And luckily, unluckily, however you want to look at it, I was going back and forth with my ex-girlfriend, and she was usually the only person that could really like calm me down and like bring me back. And I told her, I'm like, there's nothing you can do tonight. I says, I am done. And she goes, where are you? Where are you? I'm gonna come see you. We're gonna talk this out. We're gonna figure this out. I'm like, okay. Next thing I know, city cop and a state trooper show up. And as soon as I saw the lights, and I'm like, shit. And I knew it. I knew. So they come find me. I didn't, resist or anything like that because I knew what was going to happen. But they stood me up. I said, hey, they were pretty worried about you. She said, you were really having a tough time. I says, oh yeah. And I said, I'm good now. I promise. Like it had passed. Like I was good. I tried talking my way out of it a little bit, but obviously, I had already said the phrase, I was already going to hurt myself. So I said, nope, we got to take you. I'm like, okay. So the best way I can describe this picture is if you've ever seen Reacher, you take Reacher and then you take the lady cop. That's what this looked like. Blonde hair in a ponytail, same thing. She's, she's the one that, was arresting me. And obviously the state trooper, he was there too. And they did ask me, they go, are you, if we, once we stand you up, are you going to run? And I said, no, sir. I said, I'm not going anywhere, babe. And so they did have to, I don't know if this is TMI or if this is too much, but they did have them putting handcuffs on me. Cause they, just for pure safety, which I get, but then the best part of that was, and I think it's kind of what made me feel a little bit okay, was that they needed to use 2 sets of handcuffs because my arms didn't go all the way back for 1 set of handcuffs.
I mean, for the record, you're a pretty tall, big guy. You're like what, 6'3", 6'4"?
6'3", yeah, 6'3", about 340, 350, somewhere there. So yeah, I'm a big boy, but yeah, I was just like, they really had to use 2 sets of handcuffs. And then after that, it was, all right, we got to get you in the cop car. And it was one of the sedans, or not the, yeah, one of the sedans. She goes, pretty much, you just got to jump in.
Yep.
I'm like, really? She goes, yep, you just got to sit and just kind of launch yourself into the back seat. I'm like, all right. So I get in there and very uncomfortable ride up to the hospital. And it was just, so I had the whole weekend, obviously, uh, yep, attempt is an automatic 72-hour hold. I think it's 72-hour hold. But so I had obviously a lot of time to think. And it kind of opened my eyes too on kind of the problems of the R wing, I think they called it, but the mental health wing, especially up where I was, they didn't care. There was no support. There was no, literally they said, well, once you get up there, pick a spot, have fun. I'm like, that's it? Yep. Like, okay, cool. I got fed once in 3 days that I was there. Well, no, I'm sorry. It was Saturday morning. So 2 days I was there. 2 days I was there. So Saturday morning when I got there, and then left Monday morning. Yeah, Monday or Tuesday morning. No, it was Tuesday morning because no one knew where I was Monday because I couldn't contact him. I'm sorry. My brain is not.
No, well, and I mean, that kind of stuff is a blur where your brain just blocks it out.
Well, yeah, so Tuesday because no one knew where I was Monday at work. They all thought I quit, which was kind of funny, and I'm like, no. But yeah, I remember I was up there, and literally the whole weekend I was fed twice. Actually, I think it was twice. I got one meal when I got there, and then I had to ask for a second time for food. Barely got anything to drink. I remember at one point I woke up, and I went to use the bathroom, and when I come out, there was this lady just having just this absolute mental breakdown, and there was one of the women behind the glass, and she was laughing. I'm like, you shouldn't be on this wing at all. It was just so bad. And I'm like, this is really the condition of our mental health, wings right now. And like, it might have just been in that, that hospital. I don't know how it is at other ones, but I'm like, this is sad. I'm like, this is truly pathetic. I'm like, yeah. Especially like you said, the cop literally said to me, he goes, okay, take the handcuffs off, and you got, obviously, anything sharp. We got to take, anything sharp, my belt, my shoes, hat, everything like that, threw it in a bag, and they said, okay, once you get up there, find a couch, and doctors come find you. And
that was it. Wild.
I'm like, and then what really made me mad, and I wanted to leave, but I'm just like, one thing that really made me mad was then at another point, there was a woman there, different woman. She had like a half circle of like doctors or nurses or medical professionals, whatever. They were in a circle discussing cereal, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on right now? I can't get food, but she can get 7 people to talk to her about cereal. It was mind opening. But yeah, so that was fun. But as soon as I got out, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're good. That's so crazy because especially where we're at, it's so like pro mental health and, everyone's like an advocate here. And then you go to where you actually need to get help. And what in the actual hell is that?
And what was also kind of funny was, so it's like we said, I'm a bigger dude, and so they put me in one of the rooms because I had asked. I'm like, hey, can I get like a room or something, just be away from everyone? And they put me in, so I was on the couch because I felt like sleeping on that for some reason. Don't know why. I was exhausted. Anyways, the bed across me had like the soft restraints on it, and I'm looking at these restraints, and I'm like, if someone wants to get out of those aren't holding them back. And I'm like, no. All they got on there. And now, granted, I don't know how it works. They probably have the harder restraints in a different room, but I'm just like, that's it. I'm like, fuzzy handcuffs. I'm like, no. I'm like, and number 2, I knew I wasn't going to fit on the bed anyways. I'm like, my legs are going to over the top, which would have been funny. But yeah, it was just so mind opening. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. Like I have one nurse that actually like kind of gave a damn when I first got in there, and then literally after that, the help just they could care less. Um, but then actually, what was kind of funny was before all that happened, I had gone to my doctor and I said, "Hey, I'm not okay. I need more help." I said, "Is there anything you guys can do?" And they said, "Well, there's this program we can get you in touch with." I'm like, "Okay, perfect." They sent a referral, the whole nine. And then when I got out of the hospital, they had put in a referral for a separate place. And it was funny. It was my primary doctor. I ended up staying with that therapist, where the resources from the hospital was useless. And I'm just like, huh, okay, cool. So it was very just weird. Just yeah, it was just a very weird situation. I remember when I got out, my parents. Unfortunately, it was the second time they had to come and get me from the hospital for a mental health arrest. But yeah. So, and unfortunately, I keep telling them like, "Well, you're stuck with me now." So, but yeah, I find the dark humor kind of helps me a little bit. Unfortunately,
I mean, you and me both.
sorry, that was a very long trying thing. But yeah, it was an interesting weekend. It was a scary weekend. But like I said, I was by myself for the entire time, and I was just kind of sitting there sleeping on and off. And yeah, I really didn't like do anything. I didn't get any help or anything like that while I was in there. Like I remember I asked them for food. I'm like, "Hey, can I just like get something to eat real quick?" And they're like, "Well, lunch will they'll be coming around to get lunch for everybody soon." I'm like, okay, cool. That never happened. So I'm like, wow, cool. So I couldn't wait to get out of there. I'm like, there's no point in me being here. um,
Absolutely.
but after that, I really kind of buckled down and trying to figure this shit out. It was a scary weekend for sure. And after that one, I'm like, okay, dude, you're 32. It's time to get your shit together, man. Like, figure this out. Are you going to actually stick around and make a life for yourself, or are you just gonna, take off? And I decided I want to, make a life for myself. So slowly but surely, slowly but
Yeah.
surely,
I remember when you texted me that you had just gotten out of the hospital because you came like very close to an attempt. And I had talked to you like what, 3 days prior to when you went in. And I was like, I had no fucking idea.
a lot of people didn't. And it's funny whenever I do make posts about, about mental health, and mostly it's the depression on my end. I know a lot of people, it's the anxiety. Like my sister, it's funny. My sister and I are polar opposites. I'm hardcore depression. She's hardcore anxiety, and I tell my parents, I'm like, well, you got one of each. So but yeah, it's funny. I will always get one or two. Will be like, dude, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. And I'm like, because I kind of, unfortunately, I fall into the man. I'm just like, I don't say anything because why should I? But I just have learned to deal with it. So
Yeah. What was your, I mean, I'm so glad that you're still here. And I've said that to you like 4,000 times since I found out.
right. Mm.
But what was that? Because you talked about like the general, like, hey, I just need to get my shit together. But what was that turning point for you where you were like, no, I'm going to stay and I'm going to figure this out?
A little bit of pure spite and a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of I actually have stuff I've always wanted to do. Because I am very much a people pleaser. Still am. But even more so when I was like 17, 18 years old, I would just kind of do what everyone else would want me to do because, well, that's how I'll fit in. That's how people like me. That's how, every reason under the sun. And so I put a lot of what I wanted to do on the back burner. Like I always wanted to learn how to build cars and fabricate and get into welding and just kind of that stereotypical, just kind of, just manly, manly stuff. Lately it's, my family was raised blue collar, so I mean, it's ingrained in my brain. But at the same time, I was like, well, no, I'm not good enough for any of that stuff, so why should I do it? And so I did what other people wanted me to do. And so it was kind of after that happened, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Here we go. I'm like, you know, I'm going to make a life for me that I want to do. And I am very slowly but surely doing that. So
Yeah. Walk me through how you're getting there, because I feel like in the last year, so much shit has happened for you, like in a good way. So walk us all through what has been going on in the last year.
So it took, I'm not going to lie, it probably took another 6 months, six
Yeah.
or 7 months before I was really like okay with myself. Like I remember when I got to 6 months, I texted my friends, Amber and Bianca, who they're really, you know, they're real close friends. I'm like, hey guys, I want to go and do something because it's been 6 months, you know. And I remember after that, I'm like, okay, now it's time to start doing stuff. And I remember, let's see, so that happened in August. So I forget, it was like end of August, early September, middle of September, somewhere in there. An ad popped up on Facebook for a for an old car that I really wanted. It was so I'm gonna make a long story out of this. But anyways, so pretty much there's these versions of a car called Rat Rod, where you take like,
Yep.
yep, and yeah, exactly, and you take one of the, you know, you kind of bastardize the hot rod. And I've always enjoyed that style because I always thought it was the more gritty, you know, F you to the world type thing. I've always kind of enjoyed that. And so one of those popped up on Facebook and on Marketplace. The guy had a car, and what's funny is the car is a Packard, which is from the 1930s. Yeah, so it went from actually the early 1910s to the 60s, I think it was when they got bought out. But anyways, they were the Cadillac before Cadillac was Cadillac. They were, you know, they were the nicest car. They were, you know, these cars cost $4,000 in 1920. You know, like it was, yeah, 1930. Like, you know, it was that kind of,
Yeah.
$4,000. That's nothing. It's like, no, that was, I want to say that was like close to 90 grand in today's money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So they were, you know, they're very nice. So in my eyes, I'm like, okay, so if I can take a car like that and bastardize it and put it, you know, just this massive truck frame under it, diesel engine, all that, and it really sparked my creative juices that I have been lacking for a very long time. I just kind of, I fell down a hole. In all honesty, I just fell down this pit, and you know, I finally decided, you know what, we're done. You know, and then I've been, you know, not to get, you know, all cliche, but pretty much I've been digging myself out of ever since. Like I said, once I got that car, I got a home. I'm like, okay, cool. There's my base. There's my start. Okay, cool. What's next? Find the frame. Find, you know, find this. Find that. And it got my, you know, my creative juices going. And I'm just like, and I bugged the shit out of my parents. I bugged the shit out of my friends. I'm like, dude, what do you think about this? What do you think about this, man? I gotta do this. I gotta do this. You know, and I know I bugged my coworkers a lot, but I'm just like, I want to learn. You know, I want to. This is my baby. This is my one. You know, like, you know, and so I just been working on that. And then I was able to make some really cool connections. I flew down to. I do not recommend flying down to a place and then flying back all in a 24-hour span. Not a good idea.
Absolutely not.
Not a good idea.
No.
But it all worked out kind of well. Like the flights, like landed right, like or the event I went to, landed right in between the event, so it worked out nicely. But don't do it. I was up. I think the first flight left. I think it was at like 4:30 or 5. So I was up at 3:30, and then I got home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was pretty much 22 hours straight. It was not a good idea. But anyway, so the guy down in North Carolina, he goes by a business called Village Customs, but that's all he does is rat rods. And so he was hosting an event. So I flew down there. It was my first time, you know, flying to North Carolina, which was cool. It was, you know, first time, you know, being in that kind of an event where everyone was kind of like what I like. It was just the rust, you know, everything like that. Because I'm so used to going to car shows like with my dad, who is, you know, fully restored, you know, $50,000, don't touch these cars, you know. And I'm like, I don't like that. I'm like, nah, dude, if you're gonna have a car, you know, have fun with it, you know. and so that was cool. Trying to think, so yeah, so and then yeah, I had Country Heavy going the whole time. That one's kind of been up and down, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But that one's kind of kept me afloat a little bit because again, it lets my creative juices kind of go. Now, granted, I can barely draw a stick figure, so that's another thing. But like, like I know what I want to do for the designs, and luckily, my tattoo artist Casey, shout out Fat Casey on Instagram, coolest dude ever. He can literally just kind of reach into my brain and be like, okay, there's your thoughts, put it on the paper, and it's just so he's kind of helped me a lot with it, and um, but yeah, so I was able to do that. I pulled the trigger and got the side of my head tattooed. I was able to finish up my other arm. I got to meet the Ghost Inside again, and I got to see them play in a 400 cap venue, which that was one of the sweatiest nights ever. It was
Oh
disgusting.
God.
It smelled bad, but it was amazing. They played Aftermath, which was kind of like their throwback to the accident, and I started like tearing up. I'm like, "Oh, this is beautiful." It was just like it was amazing. It was just, but it was again, it was just one of those nights. I'm like, I got to see the Ghost Inside play again. I started wearing my cowboy hat out. I finally said, screw it. I'm like, I want a cowboy hat. I want my cowboy boots. I'm just finally saying yes to the things that 12-year-old JT wanted. And I'm doing it at 32, 33, and I'm doing those things. Uh, um, yeah, sorry, just looking at all these trucks I want to buy and just building this crazy business ideas that I have, and it's been good. It's kept me going a lot. And I'll be honest, the last year has been a blur. It's gone by so fast. But all I remember was the day or the Monday I got out. I'm like, okay, I have 365 days, and I will be back here. And I says, I will be here in a year. And literally Saturday night after the concert, I went to the same spot. And as childish as this is, I literally stood by the river and I flipped off the river.
Because you beat it.
I just stood by the river. I'm like, screw you, man. And I'm like, I'm still here, and so yeah, it's been a long year, but it's been a very good year. That was also probably way more than what you needed, but man, you get me going, I go.
Nah, that was exactly what I needed.
So,
What are you doing now to take care of your mental health to ensure that you're not back at the river?
I am on my pills, taking my pills every damn day.
Mhm.
um, we finally got a good concoction. We finally got the right, concoction of pills going. I have purposely and kind of subconsciously cut out a lot of what I don't need, whether it be relationships, whether it be food, whether it be, destructive habits that I was getting into. And I just kind of finally said no. Like, really, I've been telling no to people, I've been telling no to myself, that I got shit I got to do, and um, I'm just trying to, again, kind of subconsciously, I'm kind of waking up every day like, okay, here we go. I've just kind of been bringing back this, I want to say naive because that's kind of a wrong word, but just kind of this joyful JT that I used to be. He was way more scared, back then, but I'm less scared now. I'm more like, okay, fuck it, let's do it.
Yep.
But yeah, really, it's been the pills, it's been therapy, it's been um, not engaging as much, just really just pulling back on a lot of things. I don't. I try as much as I can to stay out of drama. I'm just like I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like I got better things to do with my life right now. It's like I got my own issues going on right now. I don't get me wrong. It's my best friends. Obviously, I'm going to deal with it. But it's like no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I didn't get into like the music scene and stuff like that. Like, oh my god, if you like this band, then I'm not going to support you. I'm like, you don't support me anyways. But I
Yeah. God, there's so much drama in the music scene. I don't. It's so bad.
I'm like, I'm gonna move to. I'm gonna move to North Dakota. Like, there's gotta be something going on. Not really, but But then, honestly, on top of that, and it was funny. I've been going through like my Facebook memories and Snapchat memories, stuff like that. And I made Trucks and Mayhem a real thing. And that has kept me going this year. Was planning that out and figuring that stuff out. And it's kind of funny to see the reaction to take a truck show with a metal show, put them together, and Trucks and Mayhem was born. And I didn't really know what the name of it, like what I wanted to call it. But again, Casey, one of the old designs, he put on the bottom of it, he called it Trucks and Mayhem 2024. And I'm like, dude, I really like that. So I just kind of stuck with that. So I made a
Yeah.
2025, and it was just a T-shirt the last 2 years, but this year it's an actual event. So, so that was really cool. So that was my big undertaking for this year, and it hasn't even happened yet, and I'm already planning 27. Like I'm already thinking, yeah.
You got to do that. Unfortunately, you have to be like proactive like that. But tell me what Trucks and Mayhem came from, because obviously you said it was a T-shirt. So let's go back to the beginning. You have Country Heavy.
Sorry.
Where did that come from? And then how did that segue into Trucks and Mayhem?
Right.
Which you kind of explained, but what is Trucks and Mayhem?
Sorry, my brain, believe me, I got 2 brain cells fighting for third place, so believe me, it's ping pong balls going everywhere.
Same.
No, so I decided for whatever reason, in the middle of of COVID in 2020, in August of 2020, let's start a T-shirt brand. Let's see what happens. Why not? And the best way I can explain Country Heavy is it is the ultimate expression of myself. I was a kid who was raised on Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, John Wayne, just all these old school, like Clint Eastwood's, the old school Western stuff like that. I have my dad's side of the family, stuff like that, and then but it's just always just kind of this like gritty, just manly man, blue collar type stuff. So that stuff was always there, and not to get that side of things, but it's just always the work ethic, work for yourself, stand up for yourself, which I'm still learning to do at 33. But
you are.
But exactly, and so it kind of came from there, and it just kind of came from this just absolute love and appreciation of country music and of the heavy music scene, and just you don't have to fit into a box. I know people, actually another friend of mine who's also named JT, he is 100% death metal guy, like that's it, he gets excited by that. But to me, I'm like, it literally sounds the exact same no matter the band, no matter but you'd say the same thing about my country music. It all sounds exactly the same, And so it's just this appreciation that I have of both sides, and just absolutely loving it, because I can go, like last week I went and saw Tim McGraw, and the week before that I went and saw For the Fallen Dreams. It's like I went from this just radio country guy and then to metalcore, and so it's just I just truly enjoy music. I just I don't have the depth of a catalog that some of my friends do. My buddy Logan used to pick on me for that, because he would always go, "Oh yeah, Mr. Mad, Mr. Music Man, who's this?" And I'm like, "Damn it," because he would always get me, because I'd always kind of get ahead of myself a little bit without actually knowing, and he would always kind of reel me back in. So, but it kind of came from that, and I just it was just kind of just always wanting to show just that kind of side of me. And so, like I said, 2020, Country Heavy was born. I'm like, hey, if I sell my original, I had 10 T-shirts that I had made up. I said, if I sell those, I'll be happy. I posted it. Within 10 minutes, they were gone. And I'm like, okay, all right. And, we were off to the races. And it kind of took a little bit to try and get like where I wanted. There were some crappy designs in the beginning. They're just so bad. Anyways, it's because I didn't have a graphic designer. I didn't have someone who could pull the ideas that I had And so once I, met Casey and became real good friends with him, I'm like, okay, that was the missing piece. I'm like that's what I needed. And so that really elevated the game. And it was just, and I also wanted it to be something different that you hadn't seen. And I will forever say it's a hill. God, I hate being every cliche ever, but it's like the hill I will die on is my stuff. You're not gonna find it with AI. You're not gonna find it anywhere else.
Exactly.
What Casey can think of in his brain, and from my little bit of like, hey, I'm thinking I want to do this with this, and I want this over here, and I would like it to say this. He's like, okay, cool, no problem. When do you need it by? I'm like, can you do it in a week? No problem. And a week later, he gives me the most just amazing, artwork. And yeah, so he's done all but two designs. But I also had Ryan Worth, who did the original design, which I call the OGT, just a skull with a chain around it. Which even that was kind of still very, kind of country heavy esque. It was skulls and stuff like that. And then Daniel Leal from Upon a Burning Body, he did one. It was just this like wild boar head with like horns coming out of it, and so that was kind of a cool one. But so it was just, it's been a lot. So it took me probably about a year, I think. Well, no, because I was down at UTI, maybe about a year and a half or so to really like be like, okay, let's like, I want to do this. I want this, to be something. Um, because honestly, COVID messed up my plans before. Because before that, I was doing concert promotions and I was loving it. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but I wasn't making any money, and there was so much competition. I'm just like, this is stupid. I'm
Yeah.
like, it was, the same 4 promoters playing with the same 10 bands. I'm just like, this no. So COVID
Yep.
happened, and I'm like, okay, I got to find something a little more, sustainability. So I have my full time job that I do here, and then Country Heavy is still very much the side project, but it's what I look forward to is that kind of stuff. And so yeah, so that kind of just kind of became who I am. I like my Instagram handle is the Heavy Metal Cowboy, because that's pretty much what I am. Is I'm just this big old country boy who really enjoys Phil Bozeman style breakdowns, Whitechapel breakdowns. So it's
Yep.
and so then after that, I've kind of always had an idea of, can I bring heavy music and my love for, about to get real redneck on you, for tractor pulls, garden tractor pulls, truck pulls, truck shows, stuff like that, and bring it together. And so I've been rattling around with that for, the original show is 2024, probably for about 3 years now, probably 3.5, probably at least 3 years now, of like, hey, how can I do this? And lo and behold, here we are. Now I have a truck show during the day and a heavy metal show at night, and I am beyond excited. So, and that's really what Trucks Mayhem is. It was just, it was, I was hoping to have a little bit more with it this year, but it just didn't pan out, which is fine. But we're going to start, at least we're going to start, just going to have the truck show during the day, and then the concert at night, and then just have fun. Like, and that's what I was telling everyone in the group chat for the show. I'm like, guys, I don't want any pressure on the show. I says, yeah, there's some expectations, but just have fun with it, and that's all I want it to be. So it's gonna be a damn party, hopefully. So
Yeah. When is it?
so
I know it's coming up.
It is August 8th, Saturday. From 1 to 4 is the truck show, and then music starts at 5. So
Yeah.
good mix of bands. I got a horrorcore rapper, I have a rock band, I have death metal, I have thrash, I have hardcore, so a little bit of everything. So it'll
Oh
be
shit.
fun. So yeah. So it'll be a fun one. But yeah, so I'm excited. I'm also extremely tired right now, so I apologize. But yeah.
No, you're good. What do you have coming up? Because obviously by the time this airs, Trucks Mayhem will be over. But obviously people can follow you to figure out when 2027 is. But what I know, you have some stuff going on this fall in like end of August, September. So tell me about those.
So yeah, let's see. Yeah, a bunch. And a couple of them.
I know.
Yeah, I was saying a couple of them were all of a sudden like, "Oh, hey, by the way, do you want a spot of this place?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Cool." I'm like, "Hey, I guess I'm going." Uh, no, so there's an event down in it's East Durham, New York, which I guess is Albany way. That will be set up for that one. It is the largest rat rod show on the East Coast. So yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. So I'll be down there for that one. Again, just a giant party, just rat rods, swap meet, giant campers, or giant, camping and everything like that. So that'll be cool. And then after that, I'm going to meet one of my heroes actually, at the end of August. It's actually this guy, he created Welder Up. A guy by the name of Steve Darnell. He's going to be in Pennsylvania, and his shop is based out of Las Vegas. So this is the closest he'll be. So I'm like, no, I am going. But he is kind of the founder, the godfather, you will, of the rat rod. He took what he had and said, well, what happens when we put a giant ass diesel engine and do burnouts and all this? And he said, what was he? He said the original video of him doing a burnout with his car was like, it got like tens of thousands of views within like a little bit. And this was like mid 2000s. This was like 20 years ago. He started doing this. And so he just kind of built this, I kind of want to call it a revolution, but it's kind of like this new style of car building. And so so I'll be going down to that one. That one just more for pleasure than a business trip, but be able to meet him, that'll be a lot of fun. And then what was the other one? I have one in September, which is going to be of the Coonley Motorsports Park. They have what's called the Semi Stampede, which is uphill drag racing with semis. It is the most insane thing, and yes, it sounds as crazy as it is as crazy as it sounds. And what's really cool is then they do what's called bobtail, which is where they don't have a trailer, and then they do loaded, which is, I think they said it's 80,000-pound trailers, and they drag race those uphill. Oh, it's insane! Like the frame. Line in Fast and Furious that Vin Diesel said that there's so much torque on the car that the chassis twisted in the original Fast and Furious. They literally do that. The truck, you'll see them. They literally do this and then they come back down because they're putting so much force and so much power and just torque and just it's insane, absolutely insane.
That is so up your alley.
But yeah, so we'll be set up at that one. Touchdown will be at that one, so that'll be an event. So that'll be cool. And then I know I'm forgetting one, but yeah, we'll be all over.
Well, people can follow you so they can keep up.
Country Heavy 585, Country Heavy 585 on everything. You'll find us. And then it's kind of gonna wind down after that because I've kind of not so much lost my spark in it a little bit, but I want to do more with it. I did the t-shirt thing. I'm like, okay, cool. This was fun, but I'm like, okay, cool. What's next? What can I do next? And I want to do more. And so I'm going to hopefully, fingers crossed, and if I don't go too crazy, I'm going to hopefully open up a little bit of like a fabrication shop, rat rod type stuff, start building, a few cars here and there. And if it turns into something, then awesome. If not, then it's, on to the next thing, because I'm gonna sound like an old geezer here, but they don't make cars like they used to.
I know.
Like the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, cars had style. They looked awesome. They looked fucking cool. Like the old trucks from the 50s and 60s, they looked mean. They were gonna come at you. They were gonna destroy you. And it's like now you look at the trucks today. I'm like, oh, it's like. Yeah, it's just like where was I was going the other day? I forget, but I drove by a parking lot and it was literally 7 SUVs in a row. 5 of them were white.
Yeah.
I'm like, so that's a car dealership. I'm like, there's just no style, there's no option, there's no, we need another 1950s era of automobile, not everything else, just automobiles to come back, because that's, post World War II, it was, we don't want what we had in the 30s. We want something different. And so that's where you got, like, God, I'm going to sound like my dad here. Anyways, that's where you got, like, the Tri-5s and the Chevys and stuff like that. It was just these gorgeous cars came out. And, and it's just like, and I miss that kind of stuff. So, and now those cars are just rotting away in fields. And I just think, I'm hoping, and maybe I'm hoping, but there's hopefully going to be a resurgence of, hey, we want stuff like this. So I kind of want to buy up all these, cheap cars, put them, on concrete or something, put them up on blocks, and have like a, rat rod dealership or something like that. Like, hey, we'll come to you, like. But yeah, so these are, and then, like, I had another thought, and like, and it's funny, and this is what gets me sometimes, is how am I so depressed and wanting to, like, not be alive, but then I also have all these amazing ideas that I know I could make happen. And it's just this just paradox and this paradigm of just back and forth. And I'm just, like, I had an idea for, so like a lot of touring bands, they do what's called Bandwagon, which is a under CDL purpose built touring vehicle. It's like $600 a day to rent it. I'm like, okay, what's the next step down? We can take vans and we can do the same type thing. Hey, we got a week tour, but we can't, spend 10 grand on a van or on a bandwagon. All right, how about $3 grand for a van? You know what I mean? Like, I want to do something like that. I just have these just ideas, and I'm just like, why don't I go after them? And I'm like, I don't know. The internal monologue is it's a scary place. It's a scary place.
Oh, it sure is. It sure is.
But
yeah, I think so many of those ideas are incredible, and I can't wait to see where you're at with those ideas a year from now, 2 years from now, like we're at 5 years from now. But to kind of wrap, what is one thing that people listening you hope they take away from this episode?
Don't be afraid to be you at all. Took me about 15 years, too long. But don't ever be afraid to be you. As cliche as it is, and I hate to say it, but you got one life. Fuck it. Have some fun with it. I have been so scared the majority of my life of just I don't know the right way to say it. Just I've just been scared. I'm just like so scared of, like, well, I don't want to. Why should I take chances? I'm like, I just kind of cower in the corner. Now I'm just like, you know what, fuck it. If it works, cool. If not, then you know what not to do. It was what was it? Edison invented 1,000 ways not to invent the light bulb or something like that. It was like, if you can almost turn every negative into a positive, and I'm definitely not on the toxic positivity side. Like, no, everything is not, sunshines and unicorns. Shit's gonna happen. It's gonna suck. And unfortunately, I stay down way longer than I should. I just get in these moods, but then once I come up, I'm like, fuck it, we're doing this, And so what that means, then now we just need a hot mess espresso rat rod, and it will have a seat for the dogs and the cats, and you'll be all set.
Right? Because I gotta bring my girl with me. She comes everywhere. Huh, Pookie? She's sitting on the chair over here, like, Mom, what are you doing?
But don't ever be afraid to be yourself. Just one of my personal heroes is Robin Williams. Because it's Robin Williams. I don't even have to say anything. It's Robin Williams, and one of my favorites by him was The Birdcage. That was one of my favorite movies. And he goes, it took me 20 years to find out who I was, Val. And says, you know what, so what, I'm a middle-aged fag. It took me 20 years to find out who I was. If he doesn't like it, screw him, And it's forever, that line was just always very powerful to me. It's like, you know what, yes, it took me this long to figure out who I was, but here I am, and so that's kind of where I'm at now. I kind of fully embracing just this kind of heavy metal cowboy identity that, that I've kind of built for myself, and I'm loving it. I have this believe me, if this was like pre-COVID, if this was like 2018, you and I would not be having this conversation right now because I would be so
Oh, for
scared to go
sure.
on.
No,
Like I
I
would be
know.
so scared to be on a podcast and just, well, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I, and it's funny because I have a radio background and I'm like, I was so scared to do that stuff. I'm just like, now I look at it, I'm like, wow, dude, if only you knew, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, sorry. Like I said, I
No,
ramble, man. Yeah.
hey, I freaking love it. It works out for me as a host so well. But JT, thank you so much for coming on and being as open as you are. I know you've been open on social media about this publicly, so like this isn't like a first time or anything, but still, when you have to really dive into the nitty gritty about it, it can be a lot. So I really appreciate you coming on and being so open and vulnerable. And guys, if you are in crisis as in the US and Canada, please call 988. You can call, you can text, especially if you don't have resources like JT did with his ex and his friends and all of that. So 988 Heart Support also has plenty of mental health resources, but if you are in crisis, 988. We will catch you guys next week. And as always, stay hot and stay messy.